This is a good read, and it's taken me a long time to finish the book, so I think it's time for me to have some fun. Oh, back, ah! Woo, that was fun. Now, losing isn't something that I like to do. Alright, so playing these games is my nature of competitiveness comes out. So that's kind of why I enjoy these games. Now, if I have 1 hour, I wonder how many of these races can I do. So how is that relevant to the question, how do we increase the velocity of a team? Let's take a look. We have 1 hour time box that we set aside to play the game, similar to 2-week sprint. We have race tracks. Each racetrack has its own complexities and difficulties, which we can do relative sizing on. Similar to user stories, we have a definition of done for each of the race. We want to be placed in the top 3 position of the race. Similar to definition done of a user story. And every time we finish a race, if we are placed in the top 3, we get certain rewards and value from finishing the track or finishing the race. So this is kind of similar to the stories or the value of stories. So once a story has been completed, there is value from it. So out of that, if we place a relative size on each of the tracks, using Fibonacci series for example, we can then pick the tracks that we want to race between their 1 hour time box. And based on what we complete, we can now add up all the points for the race that we finish based on definition done, and that will be our velocity. So then, how do we increase the velocity? How do I finish more races in that 1 hour and be placed in the top 3 position? So the way for me to do this is, one, is definitely to increase my skill. And in order to do so, I have to spend time actually doing it. Reducing the amount of time that I'm crashing the car during the race. And not only the skills, I've also got to ensure that the car that I'm using is capable. So maintenance of the car is important. Maybe even buying a new car is important. The other part is distraction. If I have 1 hour to play and race all these different tracks, I don't want to be distracted. So how does that relate to how do we increase velocity for teams? Similarly, the team's skill set, the people that is doing the work, we got to ensure that they improve on their skills. We got to ensure that whatever work they produce doesn't have defects. So high quality increases velocity. The tools comes into play too. CI/CD. Do they have the right tools? Do they have the right tools to give us the right speed? Can they get work all the way to production? The other part is, do they have a lot of distraction? Distraction could be any. Distraction could be unplanned work. Distraction could be, defects coming in after production. Those are distraction. How much of those distraction is affecting our ability to produce the good stuff? So one thing that I do know that doesn't work is doubling the size. So for example, when we're sizing how difficult the track is, I could easily double the number. So a 1 may not be a 2, a 2 may not be a 4, for example. I could easily double those numbers. At the end of the day, my velocity will increase, but my true value, my true good stuff did not increase. It's still the same thing. We're still producing the same amount of work, other than the numbers goes up. So chasing after the numbers by itself doesn't help, because that's not what value is. The other part is breaking down the work. For example, if I were to break down work in terms of front end, back end, that does not help produce the value. The other thing is including defects into velocity. Now, oftentimes I see a lot of teams will like to size the defects because it's work, right? So they want to size it, they want to count it towards the velocity. So yeah, you are doing work, but that takes you away from getting good stuff. So for example, I could count my time spent on fixing the car, maintaining the car. Does that help me get to the definition of done? Does it help me get more of the good stuff? Not really. It just basically says, you know what, yes, I'm doing work, but I got no value from it. I could spend half an hour upgrading my car. Did it give me any value? No, because I didn't get the race. I didn't enjoy it, I didn't get the race. Another thing that I see often is the confusion between value and time spent. Being busy or putting a lot of hours into something doesn't mean that you will get the value from it. The more time you spend doesn't always mean that the more value you get. So I see teams calculating the time, including the time in. I spend X amount of time, therefore my points should be X. Well, those are the 4 things that you can do today to increase your team's velocity. Bye to all of you. Remember to subscribe. It's time for me to get back to my game. Bye.